What's going on, everybody? I'm Patrick Chaplow, founder of POWLAX and creator of POWLAX Master Coach, and in this video we're going to be talking about an unbelievable stick skill drill called Saints Passing. Now, this drill is one of my favorites of all time because you can integrate almost any skill into this stick skill drill. You can do any type of dodges, any types of fakes. Players are passing and catching. And two of the things that really stand out about this drill is that players will have to utilize timing. The timing of cutting around somebody or a pick, and the timing of being able to put that ball on their stick right as they curl around the pick. The other big thing that players are going to have to do within this drill is they're going to have to catch the ball into a dodge and throw the ball right out of a dodge. So rather than having time to catch it, cradle, cradle, dodge, cradle, cradle, pass it, they're going to have to catch it, dodge, pass really, really quickly, and this will help all players learn how to get their head up and be ready to move the ball right into and right out of their dodges. The first thing you got to do when you're setting up Saints Passing is you're going to bring everybody in and you're going to divide everybody up into groups of 3. Once everyone is in groups of 3, if you have 1 or 2 extra people, use another coach to be the third person within their group, because if you don't have exact 3 in each group, you can screw up the timing of how we move through the drill, and 1 person or 2 people won't get the reps that they need to be getting. Once you have all the groups of 3, you're going to have them spread out amongst the field. Each group is going to need about a 5-yard by 10-yard square to do it. You can set them up on a line, or you can have them find their own space. I really like to set them up on a line so I can watch and see every group as they're going. You just got to make sure they're not too close so the guys who are running aren't going to hit each other. So let's get to the green screen and I'll show you guys how to set it up. Once everybody is in their space, you're going to have 2 of the players, in this case M1 and M2, stand about 10 yards apart. M3, the third player, is going to stand close to one of the other 2 players, in this case M1, and he is going to have a ball. To start the drill, M3 throws the ball to M2 and then begins to round both players. So he's just going to circle both players. When M2 catches the ball, he's going to throw the ball to M1, and then M1 is going to feed M3 as he rounds M2. Now, this is where all of the skills and techniques come into this drill, because when M3 catches the ball, that's when you want him to do his dodge or to do his fakes or whatever skills that you want to integrate. As that's happening as well, you want to make sure that M3 is curling around the players close to them. You don't want them taking really wide circles. You want to make sure that they are curling tight, because in a game, if you're using off-ball picks, you're going to want to use the space that's right off of the pick, not being wide so that defensemen can actively get around to them. The next thing that you're going to make sure players are doing is that they're timing the passes and the catching of the ball. So you don't want to have players catching the ball between both players. You want the players to catch it right as they curl around. So M3 needs to make sure he is timing his cut if M1 dropped the ball. He should wait and he should time it up so that he curls right as M1 is throwing it. At the same time, M1 wants to make sure the speed and the accuracy of his pass is hitting M3 right in the box area right as he curls around M2. Once M3 catches the ball and does his skill, he's going to throw the ball to M1, curl around M1, then M1 is going to pass the ball to M2, and M2 will hit M3 as he's curling around, and the drill continues like this. Once 20 seconds or 30 seconds, however long you want them to go, passes, and you want to switch from one player to the other, the coach will blow the whistle, and then in this case M3 takes the spot of M2, and M2 starts to run around M1 and M3. Now that we understand how to run the drill, we're going to go over 3 of the other basic things that we want to make sure that we are acknowledging and telling our players as they're doing the drill themselves. The first is that as players are curling around the other players, you're going to want them to curl tightly like we've mentioned, but also with their sticks to the outside. This will make sure that if they're rounding a pick in the game, their stick is presented as far from a defenseman as they possibly can, allowing them more time. A lot of players who have strong right, strong left hands, they really like to just keep it in that hand. So you got to make sure you're telling them which hand to use. So if they're curling on their right side, they're going to make sure they're left-handed. If they're curling to their left, you're going to make sure they're right-handed. The second thing we want to make sure that they're doing in this and every drill is that they're communicating with verbiage that really makes sense for exactly what is happening. So as a player who is standing throws a ball to a curling player, he gets the ball right back from that player. So he wants to use the term right back, or 1-2. This way they get used to using the same terminology if they want to do a give and go as they would in an actual game. The third thing we got to make sure that we acknowledge is that the farther apart the players are, the easier it is. The closer they are, the harder it is. Now that we understand how to set up and run the drill, we're going to go through how to integrate the skills that you guys want to use within the drill. So the first couple skills that I always like to run are really basic, easy skills, and then we'll work up and we'll get more advanced as we go. So the first skill that I like to integrate is a simple collarbone over-the-top throwing motion. So as players are curling or standing, they're going to always accept the ball to their collarbone and then one cradle and then move it. You can have them quick stick if you want, and a lot of players will decide to quick stick so that they can move faster. But so the first thing is just catching and throwing. The big thing with this is that you've got to run all the players through twice, once right-handed and once left-handed. The next skill that I like to integrate is a simple look-back fake. So as a player curls around and catches the ball, he is going to keep his stick on his collarbone and turn to look back at the player that he passed. Now, with a look-back fake, you don't need to throw a fake. All you have to do is use your eyes and your head to make it look like you might throw it back to him. That, in the game, will confuse defenders and maybe delay a slide or have somebody slide to the wrong direction. Notice how as these players are practicing their look-back fakes, their timing is all off. They should be catching the ball as they curl around one of the other players, but in this, they curl around and they have about 2 or 3 steps before they catch the ball. We would way rather have them catching the ball right as they curl around. So in this case, we might want to have this group separate a little bit more, or just pause, stop, and restart the drill so that they can get their timing right. The next skill that I like to integrate with Saints passing is a simple split dodge. Now, with a split dodge and some other north-south dodges, you're going to have to modify Saints passing a little bit, but it's really simple. Instead of running a circle around both players, the player who is circling is going to run in a figure 8 pattern, because as he catches the ball, say he's catching the ball right-handed and splits to his left, it's going to bring him in between both players. So rather than running a circle, he'll run a figure 8. The next skill that I always like to make sure that I'm doing with our players is a simple catch and fire. So as a player curls, he's going to catch the ball in a wind up like he's going to shoot, and then pass it on to the next player. This will help our players learn to catch the ball into a shot rather than catch it and then wind up. So in this video, our players aren't doing a very good job of catching it into their wind up. They're just a little bit off, but as players work on it, they'll become better at catching the ball into their wind up rather than catching it then taking a wind up. The last technique we're going to show is a behind the back, and so I always like to end our Saints passing with a nice challenging skill, maybe some shuffle passes, some flips, behind the backs, around the worlds, whatever it may be, just because that can get players a little bit more motivated and having a little bit more fun as we move into the next drill. A couple of the drills that we like to pair with Saints passing are bling bling shooting if we're working on that catch and fire technique, because then players are actively catching, loading, and shooting rather than catching, loading, and passing. They also all love shooting drills, as I'm sure you know. The next one is 3v2 pass down, pick away, because when you are actually seeing it in a 3v2, the curling off of picks, it just builds their understanding of how to time up cuts, how to time up feeds, and where the safe zones are within picking off ball and feeding the guys curling around picks. Thank you guys for watching this presentation of Saints passing. I really hope that you guys enjoyed it and that it adds value to your coaching practice and your practice plans. If you guys have any comments, questions for me, please feel free to email me at patrick@powlax.com. Make sure to check out other drill, skill, and technique videos on powlaxmastercoach.com, and have a good one. I'll see you guys in the next video.